Russian President Vladimir Putin warned on Friday that the tense standoff between North Korea and the United States was on the verge of large-scale conflict and said it was a mistake to try to pressure the North Korea over its nuclear missile program. Here's the big news. You know, I mentioned this yesterday out of the Russian news, and folks thought I was exaggerating, but it's now confirmed by Reuters. Putin warns North Korea situation on verge of large-scale conflict. That's a way of saying large-scale war. Russian President Vladimir Putin warned on Friday that the tense standoff between North Korea and the United States was on the verge of large-scale conflict and said it was a mistake to try to pressure the North Korea over its nuclear missile program. Putin, who is due to attend a summit of the BRICS nations in China next week, wrote in an article published on the Kremlin's website ahead of his trip that he favored negotiations with North Korea instead. It is essential to resolve the region's problems through direct dialogue involving all sides without advancing any preconditions, such as talks. Well, Tillerson and them have been talking about talks, but North Korea keeps threatening to nuke everybody, so you can't do talks when they're doing that. Provocations, pressure, and bellicose and offensive rhetoric is the road to nowhere. The situation on the Korean Peninsula has deteriorated so much that it was now balanced on the verge of a large-scale conflict, said the Russian leader. North Korea has been working to develop a nuclear-tipped missile capable of hitting the United States and has recently threatened to land missiles near the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam. And Trump has said that that is a line in the sand, or possible line, that if they do that, they better be ready for retaliation. Then the war that we're still in, that has been a ceasefire since July of 1953, will kick off again. On Monday, North Korean capital, which sees joint war games between the United States and South Korea as preparations for invasion, raised the stakes in its standoff with the United States and its allies by firing an intermediate-range missile over Japan. In Russia's opinion, the calculation that it is possible to hold North Korea's nuclear missile programs exclusively by putting pressure on the North is erroneous and futile, Putin wrote. A roadmap formulated by Moscow and Beijing, which would involve North Korean stopping work on missile program in exchange for the United States and South Korea halting large-scale war games, was a way to gradually reduce tensions, wrote Putin. Well, we've been trying to appease North Korea for decades, and our loving leaders, the Clintons as usual, you know, It the Clown's not real. It the Clown's not a real metaphysical force, a space vampire, but the Clintons basically are. They probably have headlines. Jones says they're literal space vampires. They might as well be. Yeah, maybe they are. That's called trolling the media. Bill Clinton does look like a killer clown, though, from outer space. No makeup needed. U.S. bombers drill over Korean Peninsula for a third day after the latest North Korean launch, and they've simulated dropping nuclear weapons. And we reported this 2 days ago, but Reuters is doing it now, so now it's real. See? I mean, I will say Reuters is a lot more accurate than CNN, but they still have a lot of fake news. After North Korea missile, Britain and Japan agree on closer security ties. So that's some of the news there. Now, here's some of the news coming up. When I saw this, I took a double take, but it's true. They want the bases removed and taken down, and I guess the names of the bases changed, but the SPLC with its offshore bank accounts and other activities is just all powerful. They run Facebook, Google, you know, they control the algorithms, they control who can be there, who can't. They define language. They say you're alt-right, then they say that means you're a Nazi, so, you know, you get beat up by crazy people throwing feces at you. But the SPLC calls Army bases, quote, Confederate monuments that must be, quote, taken down. Far-left group, dog whistle, domestic terrorism. That is exactly what they're doing, is dog whistling. And here's the target. Here's the next place to go rant and rave. The military, the most diverse organization in our country. The first thing to be integrated. And it's working just fine. But no, you're going to need some trannies in there. Need to have some race baiting. Need to turn it into a big social engineering operation for the globalists. That is coming up. Oh, meanwhile, a man has gotten in trouble. He's been arrested for eating bacon in front of Muslims in Stockholm, Sweden, of course, the home of the mass Stockholm Syndrome. That's all coming up. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.